We'll get to all of these issues today on Open Mic, but it is my pleasure to welcome to the Open Mic program Mathew Barewicz, who is the Economic and Labor Market Information Chief at the Vermont Department of Labor. And we'll wait for Carolyn Weir to come in from the Vermont Community Foundation. She is going to be calling in. But Mathew, you have to take the brunt of the interview right now. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about what is the purpose of a publication that's sitting right in front of me called The Pathways to Promising Careers.
Yes, this is the result of a partnership between the McClure Foundation and the Vermont Department of Labor. The Vermont Department of Labor is a partner to the federal U.S. Department of Labor, and we produce a wide variety of information like the unemployment rate, occupational data, industry data, and the McClure Foundation approached us and said, you have wonderful information. We want to make it more accessible. As a data person, we're not always the best people for presenting information other than large spreadsheets. And the McClure Foundation said this is a tremendous resource, and we would like to focus and feature it in a publication. So we've partnered with them. This is the second iteration of this. And the purpose of it is to create career awareness around what opportunities are here in Vermont, what a person can expect for career opportunities here in Vermont related to occupations, what career pathways exist, what education opportunities are here. And so it's been a great experience working with them and helping look at our data in a different way to present it so it's hopefully usable to young people who are thinking about career changes or looking to get back for additional training.
And that's sort of the collaboration here. You sort of provide the data that goes into this report. How does this help current and future job seekers?
It helps them by giving them an idea of a couple of things. One, we changed the layout of the brochure. We used to focus specifically on educational attainment level. So if an individual is thinking that they might not continue on past their current educational attainment level, say they have a high school degree and they're thinking about going right into the workforce, the previous brochure allowed them to look at what options are available to them currently with that level of education. This brochure is meant to be more interactive, to start a conversation, to have people start saying, what is it about myself and skills that I want to apply in the workplace? And so this brochure groups the occupations in a different way to say, starting with the individual, to help them start like reflecting on who they are, what they want to do. And what it does is it just lays out a couple of options and pathways. So they say, well, do you like to work with people? Do you like to work with your hands? Do you like to solve problems? Are you analytical? There's a number of different ways you can cut the data, and we just found this to be extremely useful to starting that conversation, because at the Department of Labor, we feel the more people are talking about career awareness or career opportunities, the better informed people are going to be, and that ultimately leads to better decisions, whether it's choosing an educational or training program, or what to study in school, or even what jobs to be applying for.
Let's look at this brochure because it's fascinating to me. You've got various categories, so let's go through some of these various categories. One of the categories, it asks you the question, like you said, it sort of makes you sort of think of who you are and what would be interest. So the first category is, do you like working with your hands or with machines to make, fix, or build things? What sort of positions do you sort of outline in that category?
We highlight a couple of positions, and the important thing to think about this data, because I encourage people not to get overly fixated on the numbers, and sometimes even the occupational titles, because you and I in the real world, we talk about jobs. We have a job title. I have a very unusual long job title, but really it translates to an occupational title of economist. And I ask people to just look at these as a basket of skills. Think about what skills that these individuals bring to the table, because if you're a young person right now, we don't know the jobs they're going to have in the future. We don't know what job titles those are going to be. So when we look at this first group that you highlight as far as working with your hands, fixing, building things, I can highlight a couple of occupations right off of this list that we've been talking about at the Department of Labor that the state of Vermont needs to find people with these skills, specifically diesel engine mechanics. Tremendous opportunity for individuals with a high school degree and some additional training, perhaps a career technical education or some post-secondary training. Tremendous occupational opportunities in diesel engine mechanics. Also look at electrical power line installers. We have an apprenticeship program at the Vermont Department of Labor. This is an opportunity for people who want to learn and work at the same time. And so you are getting a paycheck, you're learning a trade, you're getting a skill. There's a number of those positions in this, like electricians, plumbers, but also it covers engineers as well, civil engineers, mechanical engineers. And for individuals, I'll just say quickly that we're looking at this not just in terms of job growth, which jobs are going to be growing, but we're also looking at the replacement rates. We understand the demographics of the individuals in these positions. So a position doesn't have to be a new position. It could be due to a retirement or a job churn. And so these are openings, opportunities for individuals to gain access.
When I was looking at the job titles here, you also give a 10-year projection in terms of the openings. You give the minimum education that is needed for entry into these positions. You also give sort of the median wage. And what struck me, have you ever tried to hire an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter lately, and looking at those numbers at $41,800 for a carpenter, at $45,400 for electrician, and as a $45,400 for electrician, $48,800 for a plumber. Those seem low, given to what's out there.
Right. And sometimes we're looking at this in terms of these are employment opportunities. And
right.
Sometimes when you're a homeowner, you're contracting directly with potentially the owner of the company, and they have to factor in things like overhead and other things. But so these are direct wages for an individual.
So let's go to the next category, which are you organized and detailed oriented, and do you like to work with lots of information? What is in this group?
This is an interesting group. It covers things like you can think about as people are extremely organized, like a paralegal, like an accountant. But it also covers analysts, market research analysts. Police officers have to deal with so much information and be extremely detailed oriented and understand situations very quickly. So it's a mismatch, or a mixed match, I should say. And the one thing about these categories is we want to start the conversation. These groupings are not 100% perfect. It is based on theoretical research by a gentleman by the name of Holland. But people might find themselves in one or two or three of these. And the people that are going to be the most successful have the many skills that can translate to all these. You know, the more well-balanced you are, the more opportunities you're going to have for yourself, but at least to start a conversation.
And it does start a conversation, because I was on the website this morning going through your various categories, and it makes you think, at least, what are those, what's that criteria that you think is important? And I thought that was fascinating, as by asking these questions, it directs you to something. And you may look at the list and go, nah, that's not me. Let's go to the next thing. But at least it gets you thinking about it. Let's go to the next one, which is, do you like to observe, learn, analyze, and solve problems? What sort of categories fall in this group?
You're going to find a lot of individuals that work directly with people, specifically in either mental or physical health. So there's going to be nurses, dental hygienists, but even some computer occupations, and this surprised some people when we talk about it, like computer systems experts, but also environmental and health systems. So it's an odd arrangement of individuals, but it's that concept of observe, learn, analyze, and solve problems. So they have a problem in front of them. They need to collect a lot of information to make a decision about how to move forward for a best course of action.
And then the last category is, do you like to work with people or use your creativity to guide or persuade? And like you said, some of these are multiple categories. You may say yes to multiple categories here. Give us an example of what are some of the positions in this category.
I think this is my favorite category, probably because it translates to individuals, I think, that recognize themselves a lot quicker in terms of, do you like to speak and talk to people about whatever it might be, subject matter-wise? And so in this category, you're finding individuals who are looking to use communication to persuade people to take action. So that could be sales, it could be teachers, it could be HR, human resources. So individuals that are communicating, working directly with individuals, trying to get them to take action. So sales, tremendous opportunities here in the state of Vermont for a myriad. And that's what we're trying to highlight, because these 54 occupations, these are not the complete list. We actually just chose 54 that met the criteria of having at least 100 openings and a $20 minimum wage, median wage, excuse me. But there's about 100 of these occupations, and we just highlight 54 here that we thought cast a nice wide net.